you talked about the government coup. What's going on and what the hell's... Are we scared? Should we be scared?
Yes. Well, Ron Paul appeared on Tucker Carlson this week where he talked about a few interesting things. What I really want to talk about are Black Swan events. Part of the interview on X with Tucker, with Ron Paul, focused on Black Swan events. But I want to play some backstory first. This is Ron Paul on Tucker Carlson, where he talks about this according to some Mediaite article from March 20th. Ron Paul tells Tucker Carlson the exact day there was a coup and we lost our government. Kelly, if you could play clip number 1. This is from this week's Tucker Carlson interview with Ron Paul.
I say it was concrete that there was a coup and we
put the volume up?
our government was November 22nd.
Yes.
The assassination of Kennedy.
That was 60 years ago, and our lawmakers never talk about it.
But you mentioned to me earlier and brought back in memory, but do you know who they appointed to the commission? Alan Dulles.
He was on the Warren Commission.
Yeah.
So the guy who was responsible for the murder.
He probably was the most...
was investigating the murder.
That's dawned on me. The Republic is gone. That's when I said the day it ended.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a former congressman coming out and stating that there was a coup on November 22nd. And by all indications, what JFK wanted to do was dismantle the CIA, which was run by Alan Dulles, which gives the motive for Alan Dulles to then have Kennedy assassinated, which then leads to, like they said, the JFK assassinated, the Warren Commission, which investigated the assassination. That was directed by the guy that ordered the hit.
Turned out I didn't do it.
Yeah, weird.
I'm clear of this murder that I clearly had motive to do. But part of this this interview is very interesting. The way the media covered it. Here's a BizPac review article from March 20th where the headline, Insider, Tucker sits down with Ron Paul, says he correctly predicted most of the big disasters of the last 20 years. Here's a clip from, I want to say, Kelly, the tweet may have it. I don't know the year. What year? 5 billion, 10 years ago. This is Ron Paul talking about why the United States should not be involved in any type of escalation of war in Ukraine, especially when it comes to Ukraine-Russia.
We've already spent $5 billion over the last 10 years trying to pick and choose the leadership of Ukraine. And then we participated in the overthrow of the Yanukovych government. And this is when this recent stuff really stirred up. But we've been involved too much, and I take a non-interventionist foreign policy position. It's not our business. It doesn't serve anybody's interest. It's part of the same thing that led us into the disaster in the Middle East. So a lot of people die, and a lot of money is spent, and we're still suffering the consequences of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And there's the threat of the war in Syria. We don't need another threat. The American taxpayers don't want it, and our government thinks they can get away with, well, I know the people don't want a war yet, but we're going to play games, and we're going to threaten Russia, and we're going to put on sanctions. And they fail to recognize that we have $500 billion of investments in Russia. Russia has $450 billion invested in the West, and all we're doing is trying to stir up more trouble. It makes no sense whatsoever. So it makes a lot of sense for us to mind our own business and let somebody over there solve their own problem.
I'd love to hear what you guys think about that clip. That was 10 years ago. That's his views on Ukraine in 2014. Here we are in 2024.
Who was talking about Ukraine back then? Who like that just shows how studious Ron Paul is, that he paid attention to everything while everyone else is caring about the stupid thing back then, whatever that was, Obamacare. And meanwhile, the CIA, or New York Times came out with a report that the CIA has been training Ukraine for 10 years to take on Russia in war. They were building them spy bases all along the border and doing drills and trainings and everything. So it's like, well, they're just orchestrating shit. And then the only people who pay attention are Ron Paul. And then the media is like, Ron Paul, he's crazy. He's nuts.
Because there's no secret. Because at the end of the day, Shane, it's no secret. America is a war-like country. We love war. Okay, if there's no war, by the way, I forgot who it was. They're like, dude, what do you think we're making all these missiles and bullets for? We got to use them.
We don't like war. Our corporations.
I'm saying the country, the government. That's why when a president like JFK is like, hey, I don't want people going to Vietnam dead. You don't talk shit like that. And that's why you see all the debates that we went to, Rob, everybody and their mother was war. We got to go to Ukraine. And that's why Trump, at the end of the day, no wars, no terrorism, wiped out ISIS, but he was the bad guy.
And what's happening to him?
Yeah, no shit. What are you gonna say?
And hold on real quick. It's funny. You said like everybody there on the stage, because I remember watching Miami when we went. Everybody at that debate was going, we must help Ukraine secure their border.
Yeah.
But not one of those motherfuckers gave a shit about our own border.
Zero.
If you saw the footage yesterday, National Guards people were being overtaken by illegal immigrants.
And then
people were just like, oh, that's interesting. Scroll on to the next thing.
And Vivek asked every single one of those guys on that stage, including Nikki Haley, who's the most in favor of Ukraine, named 3 provinces in Ukraine.
None
they
of them.
couldn't name.
remember
They
that.
couldn't name any.
Yeah.
This is what Eric Prince said on the PBD podcast. He's like, you guys want half the countries all in support of Ukraine. They can't find on a map.
Yeah.
So why should we care what they say? They're not. They don't know shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been following this guy for 15 years.
Ron
And
Paul?
Ron Paul. If I can define my political views, Ron Paul. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, he is a common sense extremist. You know, he calls it out how it is. Like, every single time. Iraq war, Ukraine. Like,
the
years
truth. He's
beforehand.
the truth.
It's
He's the truth. That's
And he's not a genius.
No,
you know,
but
he's
but
not nothing
smart.
special, but he just calls it out. Common sense. If we give these people money and pit them against these other people, there's going to be a disaster. And he's been calling it.
So, very interesting point. You said he's calling people out. He has been for a long time. You said Ron Paul has been paying attention to things that nobody else is paying attention to. 2014, he's talking about Ukraine. Everybody else is talking about Obamacare. I'd like you to pay attention to this article. This came out from the Daily Caller. This is more coverage of the Tucker Carlson Ron Paul interview. By the way, if you have not watched it, go watch it on X. The title, very, very dangerous. Ron Paul tells Tucker Carlson Americans should prepare for a Black Swan event. Kelly, could we play a few seconds of this clip where we don't have to play the entire thing, but we could just start it and just take a listen to what Ron Paul is warning people. Again, Ron Paul paying attention to things nobody else is paying attention to. Here he is talking about a Black Swan event in the United States.
I think we're reaching this point where some sudden thing is going to happen. I believe in that theory of the black swan.
Yes.
It's going to pop up, and it's not going to be controllable. But people, you ask, what can they do? I think the most important thing is understand what's going on. Is education. That's why I happen to have a homeschooling program, and I try to teach this stuff early, because you can't change it. You can't go in and say, okay, you want $50 an hour. We can't do that, but we'll have a compromise with the other people. We'll just give you $32 per hour, guarantee. That kind of nonsense. You have to be able to, tell them what they have to do. One is to protect the money. One is to protect your wealth. But when I go through this, when people really want to know some details, and I get a little more in detail, I said, but really the most important thing you do is study and understand what's going on. Because if you come away from that and you're able to accumulate a lot and get by, and you have your guns and you have stored food and all that, it's not going to work. You have to understand what's happening. You have to know it's coming. It's very, very dangerous, and that's why I love to see smaller units of government. Anything that hints that says
so
he's even saying having guns, having food isn't going to work because you have to understand the threat that's coming. So yes, you can have all the guns you want, you can have all the food, but you need to understand the threat that's coming to prepare for the threat. According to Wikipedia, yes, we'll get to this in a second. A Black Swan event is a theory of events that are a metaphor that describe an event that comes as a surprise, has a major effect, and is often inappropriately rationalized after the fact with the benefit of hindsight. Characteristics of Black Swan events are highly unexpected. They have a major impact, explained in hindsight. Examples of Black Swan events include major scientific discoveries, natural disasters of unprecedented scale, the rise and fall of empires, and disruptive inventions. In fact, a list of previous Black Swan events COVID-19, 9/11, 2008 financial crisis, the rise of the internet, the fall of the Berlin Wall. And then there is an article, the Great Reset in Global Agriculture, 9 Black Swan events for 2024 and beyond.
Great.
Yeah, where
Great.
we have 9 different
Great.
things we have to prepare
Freaking
for.
great.
Agro-industry stagflation, China unraveling, an energy crisis, political deglobalization, interest rate inflation, labor migration, climate volatility, continuing regulatory pressure, and number 9, technological advancements. So my question to you guys, because there is a story coming up that we'll talk about in just a second, but my question to you guys, are you preparing for a Black Swan event? Are you concerned about Black Swan events? And if so, what are you concerned they'll be? Vinny?
I've already have food. I already have my plan, my strategy. I am armed, even though he's saying, the guns and the.
You're gonna need them.
I think it's gonna hit. I have a couple of ideas of what I think the predictive programming that they did with Leave the World Behind. I mean, they've been testing the black. What's it? With the power one, not the power with the
power
cyber
attack.
attack.
I fucking like an idiot. The cyber attack. It's either going to be a cyber attack. I think with the terrorists that they've already allowed in on purpose. We just caught the Hezbollah guy in Texas going, by the way, the most honest terrorist ever. He's like, I wanted to go to New York to do a bomb. What? Like, he's telling you to your stupid fucking face. And Mayorkas sits there with his dumbass grin. And by the way, these people, the Mayorkas, the presidents, all these people that are doing all these policies, they're going to be protected. I pray to God, because I'm sick and tired of seeing all these innocent people, the Lake and Rileys, all these families losing people. It should be their families. It should be them. It should be their, but they're never going to get touched.
They all have estates out in like Wyoming and Idaho and like Northern California to go run off to. When Dianne Feinstein died, they had an article about all of her different properties. I was shocked. It was like mansions all over the place, all in remote areas. And when COVID happened, I remember, I'm never going to forget this. All of the people I followed on Twitter, who were all media and politicians and people, they were all putting up pictures of them at their compounds, far away from the cities.
No shit.
Far away from the matting crowd. And I'm stuck in D.C. where there's no one else but homeless people, and they're closing down all the stores. Yeah. So I was like, oh, great, cool. I'll just go die.
Yeah. By the way, and I want you to answer this question. We should find out how we could track Mark Zuckerberg's flying patterns. The moment he flies to Hawaii, that should be a warning sign, because that's where his bunker is being built, the $200 million bunker. If that alien son of a bitch flies to Hawaii, that's when you know shit's going to hit the fan, because he's going to go underground.
I hate to use Rob as an example,
but he loves it.
But I saw your Tesla Saga, like how disrupted your life was and how miserable you were with all the shenanigans with your car, and people don't understand like how complex and delicate modern society is. The smallest thing can throw everything out the window. And that's why, and this is not even like Mark Zuckerberg, those people, forget about them. Like, because once we're disconnected from the internet, whatever, those people cease to exist. They didn't exist before we had the internet. They didn't exist. We had telecommunications, and they will cease to exist. Yeah. What you need to know, and this is up to you at home, you need to be prepared. You know, my dad, he drilled into us. Like, he will make us fix the car. You see, I'm pretty handy. Yeah. He will take us camping. Like, every month, we'll do one camping trip, minimal everything.
Yep.
So we know how to cut down a tree. We know how to prepare food. We know how to hunt.
Yep.
When shit broke loose in Chile, first thing I did, gun training so I can get my gun.
Smart.
Gun training.
Smart.
Because I know it's going to be me and my family against the elements. And that's what we forget. That's the essence of being humans. Yeah. We, like, one thing that, like, we can, I mean, everyone, like, the most notable feature of humans is how they survive. Yeah. You have Hindu guys that only eat vegetables and they survive for 100 years. And then you have the Inuits that live in the snow and just eat seal. You know,
blubber, whale
and everything
blubber
in between. So I don't want any crying, any bullshit. We're 1 second away from everything being disrupted. Get protection, have a plan. The plan is everything. And what he said is so right. Understand the threat. Because a nuclear attack is different from a cyber warfare, is different from a civil war, is different for everything.
The power goes out.
The power goes out. That's different.
We're in bad shape because everybody's in a turn. If you think the toilet paper for COVID was bad and Costco, you had a little problem getting fucking groceries and toilet paper, you're screwed.
I completely agree with you, Humberto. I just got to say, like, it is completely true. You need to be prepared and everything. But I almost feel, I agree with Ron Paul, your guns and your stuff don't really matter that much because I almost feel like the prepping stuff is a sign of cowardice. It's like what's most important is paying attention and forming a political fight and push it back to them and reclaim civilization
before it happens.
Before it happens.
Good luck. But I'm saying good luck with like.
But we have to try because even when shit hits the fan, the government is still going to have all their planes and helicopters and Humvees, and they can come to your little shitty bunker and round you up.
Take all your shit.
So what the hell are you going to do then? Then you have no political will or coalition.
So let me ask you a question. What do you think? What step can we take, we the people, to get out there and get in front of it and basically stop them from doing some shit like that? Because they're already testing. If it is, let's just say, going to be the cyber attack, they've already tried it twice. It's not like they're hiding. That they're showing it in front of our faces. What do you think that would?
Well, I mean,
'cause I'm all in.
I mean, like, honestly, it's like you got to get Trump in there, or at least RFK or someone like that. First of all, second of all, we need to kind of form some kind of political fight away from the elections to have some kind of say in everything that's going on. I mean, how that will take shape, we'll see. But I know it's going to happen because something has to.
What do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, I think we need to shed light on the situation, bring it to in front of more people, because I don't really think they're really aware of everything that is going on.
You think we can? You think they'll listen? There's so much distraction. There's so much. And by the way, I'm all in, like I said earlier. But what I'm saying is, you think people are? I think people have so much shit going on, they can give two shits.
I think it's also part of, I think that's the design, is that it's, hey, keep them panicked about how they're going to pay their next bill with increasing prices and inflation. Keep them panicked about job cuts. Keep them scared, right? Because
keep them fighting about transgenders in sports.
Yeah, because when they're distracted, when they're fighting, when they're worried about their bills, they're not able to focus on the greater good, the collective, which is banding together, looking past maybe your differences on, should a lady be able to be in a ladies' locker room without a guy coming in going, I identify as a lady, then whacking off in the corner and playing. Like, we should look past that and look at the things that we can agree on at the end of the day. Let's look past these small little things that they keep forcing us to fight about by pushing it and propagating it and putting it in our faces. Focus on the collective, the greater good.
You just made me think of
the greater good. Like, because the thing is, we can be shit. We can get, because the greater good, that makes genocide.
Okay, I understand what you mean. But what Rob is talking about isn't the I'm gonna do in your favor, but just don't question me. He's talking about like a populist.
This comes to small everyday decisions. I have a 2000 Dodge pickup that I can pull apart. You know, I can take the brakes out, I can change the carb, I can change everything. So we're shit out of luck. I'm gonna find the first delivery truck. I know all the parts fit, and I'm gonna be on my way.
Can you make those parts from scratch though?
No, you can't make the parts from scratch, but I know they're readily available. So, like, there's so much we can do as a group, but at the end of the day, you're born alone, you die alone. That's what it is.
Yeah, by the way, it's just funny that we're talking about this. Look at how. And by the way, I love it, Shane. I love, like, this is the conversation that people need to be having. But you'll talk about distraction. There's people right now probably sitting in this office right now going, Michael Jordan is way better than LeBron. It's not even like, because think about the distraction. Think about all the sports. Think about all the bullshit that we fight about. I wish we could slap everybody in the head and be like, hey, none of that matters. Who gives a shit? Look at what's happening right now, because guess what? If people like Ron Paul are saying it, if people like Elon Musk are saying it, if people like Mark Zuckerberg are building shit, guys, it's coming. I'm not a fear mongerer. It's been too long since 9/11 for something big. They have another one down the pipe.
Nobody has to say it. We have one task in life: is remaining alive. That's the only rule. Just like stay alive. Okay, we're so far removed from staying alive and from eating, from finding food, that these things come as a surprise. Come on, you just need to stay alive, move, and reproduce. That's what defines life.
Part of staying alive is forming political coalitions, though, because that's you live through other people ultimately, even if you don't want to admit it. You, like, the family, the county, the state, like that is how our form of life is reproduced. I mean, even if you go back all the way to the very beginning, you're a hunter-gatherer tribe. The only way that you were allowed to be the only way that you're allowed to be a rugged individualist is because of modern technological capitalistic society. Because you're not fucking living on your own in the Stone Age. But
no.
I do agree that ultimately you have to figure out your own stuff.
Okay, let's go to Rob because
yes, I just like to say there is one thing to wrap this conversation up with to be prepared for coming April 8th, so just a few weeks away. This is from the Daily Mail. Okay. Solar eclipse causes widespread cell phone disruptions in America. And next month, solar eclipse could cause widespread cell disruptions for millions of Americans, officials warn. This actually happened during a solar eclipse in 2023. Americans experienced widespread cell disruptions. And on April 8th, we will have another solar eclipse, which may disrupt that cellular activity. So be prepared. Maybe it's coming on April 8th. Or just make sure you charge your shit.
Wait, you mean to tell me you're not going to be able to watch porn on the 8th on your phone?
I have it downloaded, so I don't need Wi-Fi.
All right, so we're good. So guys, be prepared.
1 second. Mindset. Mindset is everything. If you're the first on the jump and you know the shit is beyond repair, be violent. Move in violence and silence. You can get all the food that Vinny bought. If you get to his house first, he's good.
With your guns, but have a bigger car. You can't have like a Mini Cooper because you're not going to fit. You're going to have one toilet paper and one can.
You just go steal the nicest car.
Yeah, that's what you do.
But once everything breaks down, move in silence and violence. That's what it is, boys.